Hello, my name is Gabriel Meissner, and you are watching RPTV. On today's episode, we bring another installment in the ongoing story of the revitalization of Regent Park. The revitalization of Regent Park, which is in the last stages, phases 4 and 5, is still a place of competing visions and perspectives. On the one hand, there is the City of Toronto, the Toronto Community Housing Corporation, TCHC, and Tridel Builders, the new partner developer for phases 4 and 5. While on the other hand, there are the resident groups such as the Community Benefits Coalition and the Regent Park Neighbourhood Association, the RPNA, who are deeply concerned with not only the physical transformation of Regent Park, but also the social development, which is represented in the Community Benefits Agreement set out between the various stakeholders as a way of ensuring that while being physically transformed, the revitalization will also address the social development, providing a healthy and vibrant community for all its residents for generations to come. In today's meeting, which took place at the Daniel Spectrum on June 20th, 2023, community members met to discuss the impact of the recent rezoning for phases 4 and 5 by TCHC and Tridel Builders to increase the number of market units and potentially increase the number of affordable housing units. On the table as well was the question of what the new community benefits would be from this new proposal. Let's go and see how the meeting went.
Good evening, everyone. It's around 6:45 p.m. and we're just starting our community meeting. This has been hosted by the Regent Park Community Benefits Coalition. I'm just going to quickly share the slide deck, and then we're going to go through this together. So for those online, please let me know if you're able to see what's online. Can you folks see what we're seeing? Yeah. Okay, so our meeting just started. So our conversation is going to focus on the rezoning application that's going to be put forward at the Toronto and East York Community Council happening on Thursday, June 22nd. So this meeting is predominantly meant to help prepare residents get ready to depute or speak to the issues that are going to impact our community in the upcoming rezoning application. Okay, so please, this meeting is going to end around 8:30. So grab some water, a beverage, get some pen, a paper, and center yourself because we're going to be sharing some very important information. Okay, welcome, brother. Yeah. So just a quick reminder to join our Community Benefits Coalition because it's your contribution through the coalition that make this work possible. We're just going to quickly go through the agenda. So we're going to go quickly through our meeting objectives. We're going to talk about the community agreement, just a quick review of that. And then we're going to focus on the rezoning application that's going to be put forward at the Toronto and York Region Community Council on Thursday. Quick reminder, you can unmute yourself, you can share your video, and there's also a live transcripts button. So if you'd like to be able to see this transcribed, you can do so as well. I'm going to make sure that that feature is also available. Okay, caption. So just in case folks want to see the transcription, you'll be able to see the transcription in the bottom. Please let me know if you can't see the transcription, okay? Okay, we'll move on to the next. I'm going to quickly ask my good friend Miguel to read out today's community meeting, what our purpose is, and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Miguel.
Today's community meeting. Purpose: to update and engage community members on the rezoning application submitted by Tridel and Toronto Community Housing in April 2022. Outcomes: community members will gain knowledge on key themes related to community benefits and the rezoning. Community members will be invited to join the Community Benefits Coalition. Community members
learn how to. Go ahead. I'll move this way. Don't worry. So it doesn't get in the way. Go ahead.
Community members will learn how to engage and support each other at this critical time for our community.
Thank you so much, Brother Miguel. So just I want to remind everyone that our community agreement states that this is a space dedicated to creating an equitable, diverse, and inclusive environment for all members who are part of this meeting. Our meetings will intentionally build accessible and welcoming spaces for people of all races, genders, classes, abilities, ages, cultures, religions, and sexualities. So this is a safe space to speak. Okay, so we're just now starting our meeting. So our MCs for the meeting today are Marlene DeGenova. Marlene, you want to say hi real quickly? Marlene. Marlene,
Hi,
are you?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm here. I was unaware of this, Waleed, sorry.
no worries. I just wanted to make sure that you introduced yourself because.
Yes, I'm here. Yes. Hi,
Okay.
welcome everyone. Yes.
So Marlene, tell us a bit about this photo before we get started.
My Lord, when was this taken? What year was this?
February 2020.
2020. Yeah,
With the pandemic hit us.
just before the pandemic. Was this the beginning of was this
The framework.
Community benefits framework.
this
That's
was
when
the
we signed it.
benefits framework? This is the very beginning of the benefits framework. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It feels like a very, very long time ago, actually. It feels like we've been doing this for 15 years. But yes, there were a lot of us.
Exactly. Well, in this photo, you'll see Marlene, Dini, Miguel, myself, folks from RPNA. We've got Kumsa Baker from TCBN. We've got staff from TCHC like Will Mendez and one of the senior VPs as well. We have Lula, Sean is there from TCH. We've got Lula from Councillor Wong Tam's office. We have Janella from YSM. Michael. So we've got Ines, we've got residents, we've got folks from across the community who pushed really hard for this community benefits framework, which informs the community benefits agreement. This is another photo of the new community benefits oversight working group. And it has folks that have been appointed by RPNA, Tenants Council, the Social Development Plan Stakeholders Table, as well as folks appointed by a panel of RPNA and TCH that got applicants from both market and TCHC tenants living in Regent Park. I see Colin here, who's here with us. Welcome, Colin. And I see Ali, I see a lot of people. I see Gail, who's also with us in this photo. And yeah, this is a great momentous day. So maybe Marlene, you want to quickly cover the culture of activism and the other slides, and then I'll take it over from after that.
Culture of activism. Regent Park is an active and engaged community of residents with a long and successful history of community organization and advocacy. Access to recreation, the Legacy Fund, Regent Park Revitalization, and the Social Development Plan. Here we go. So this is our community of volunteers. The strength of our community is reflected and nurtured by an active a network of resident-led groups. We have the RPNA, the Community Benefits Coalition, the SDP with the 4 working groups, Mothers of Peace, Healing as One, Friends of Regent Park, TCHC Tenant Council, Youth Gravity, the Neighborhood Pods, Toronto, Somali Downtown Union, Regent Park Islamic Resource Center, and Regent Park Tenants Association. The Regent Park Neighborhood Association was formed in 1915 to create a unified voice for our community and represents the interests of all residents. We have the makeup is 50-50. from TCH residents and market residents. It's led by a small select group of committed and connected volunteers. Our mandate is, our mandate is focused on advocacy, meaningful community engagement, and community building. The Community Benefits Coalition, which was formed by the RPNA with the support from local community organizations and the Toronto Community Benefits Network, is a broad and inclusive coalition of residents, grassroots groups, and local service organizations. It's ensuring that equitable community benefits, including economic development opportunities for residents, are not only guaranteed, but directed by the community as part of the 4 and 5 development plan.
I'm just going to quickly just sum up this slides. RPNA has been existing over 6 years, I think probably 7 years now. We've talked about as an incorporated entity over a year now, which is amazing. There's a lot of work that has been done in the past when it comes to the community benefits framework, the first photo that we took, but also the community priorities report, which is work that we engage with hundreds of residents in informing what sort of community priorities we want for the Regent Park community. We also advocated for the social development plan, which is $2.5 million over 5 years, which is super critical to the community building work that we do and our goal of social cohesion and inclusion. But we also have a lot to learn. In phases 1 to 3, only 33 residents had full-time jobs and only 17 TCHC residents had access to home ownership. And those are things that we want to improve on for phases 4 and 5. We're working with TCHC and Tridel to establish better processes and outcomes for phases 4 and 5. That's through meaningful partnership and collaboration, through community decision making, through early consultations and information sharing, through transparency and reporting, through follow through and accountability, but also we're reminded by the commitment to the 12 principles of revitalization, which informs this work. And we also have clear structures and mechanisms for achieving the above. So let's quickly recap some of the challenges that have come with redevelopment. So the past 15 years of revitalization have delivered many benefits, but also has many challenges and disappointments. So one of the things we heard from residents was the construction quality issues, timelines and budgets, the issues related to behind the scenes decision making. So, residents wanted to be more involved in decisions that relate to the design also of units, for example. We also heard about increased density and the concerns related to reduced proportion of Toronto community housing and retendering for phases 4 and 5. So there's a lot of stuff that we've discussed in the past, but I just want to remind everyone that this is a critical step that will determine the character and future of our community. We're going to talk about the rezoning application and the implications related to community benefits, but also some other very important challenges that we want to address at the upcoming Toronto and East York Community Council. So we've had this conversation in the past, last year, where we talked about the pros and cons of the rezoning process. We had a really lively debate and a question and answers discussion. We also had earlier this year an update from the meeting with the City of Toronto, specifically with Catherine Bailey, who is the point of contact for the rezoning application. Okay. And what we did is we went through several questions, that are now available on YouTube, courtesy of Regent Park Focus. So thank you to Regent Park Focus for documenting that. So if you haven't seen that video, please let us know and we'll share it on the chat. But we asked some very important questions related to rezoning and the process. We also asked questions related to Section 37. How will the community benefits be delivered? Is it through negotiating a Section 37 community benefits agreement, or is it a community benefit charge, which is a new regime that was introduced by Doug Ford's provincial government. We heard from the city, and we have confirmation that's going to be Section 37. We focused a lot on housing and what are the commitments for additional RGI. And at that meeting with the city representatives, we were told that there was no additional commitment of RGI beyond the replacement. And what we're going to go through today is we're going to actually go through the motion that City Council is going to consider so that you have a sense of what really is being approved on what is going to be considered for approval at the July City Council meeting. We inquired about rent-to-own programs for local Regent Park residents, similar to the programs that were in place for phases 1 to 3. We also asked what 10-year requirements related to affordable housing are included in the secondary plan. So we got a lot of details from Catherine Bailey. We're going to cover some of that stuff tonight, and we're going to take your questions at the end of the meeting as well. So one of the important things that we can't ignore is there was a lot of effort put in place by residents, specifically through the community building working group of the social development plan, supported by the neighborhood association, where residents, specifically organizations operating in Regent Park, were asked to submit their space needs, outdoor and indoor. And the findings were very important. There were 29 organizations that submitted requests. One request was related to community governance that focuses on the AOCC, which is a model that the city has put in place in other parts of the city of Toronto, where there's subsidies coming from the city as well as from the private sector for the operations of those facilities. So that was one submission that related to governance that was put in place. We also talked about transportation infrastructure and the importance of addressing the density that's going to be proposed and its impact on local traffic. We also talked about, again, the OCC and the community governance spaces, which we're going to discuss more in details in the application before us. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share the motion that's going to go to the Toronto and East York Community Council. So I'm just going to stop sharing the screen. Welcome Zahid, welcome Caitlin, Dini, Marlene, whoever's on the phone, Haja, and we've got a bunch of other folks here in person as well who can introduce themselves as we move through this meeting. Does anyone have any questions so far before I start sharing the motion? So I'm going to quickly go through this. This is important. And then after that, we're going to go through the submission by RPNA to the Toronto and East York Region Council. So what I'm sharing right now, I'm going to put in the chat. So give me 1 second. So I just want to make sure you all have access to it so you can follow the conversation. So please check the chat. There's a link. There's a very important link. It's a link to the meeting details and the details of the community council that is going to be considering this rezoning application. So City Council has various community councils. One of them is called the Toronto and East York Community Council. And guess who sits on it? Our local city councilor, Chris Moyse.
Wow.
The chair of the community council is actually Gord Perks, is a city councilor in Parkdale. We've got Diane Sachs. We've got Josh Matlow, Asma Malik, Paula Fletcher, Alejandra Bravo, and Brad Bradford, who's a vice chair. So those are the city councilors that sit on this community council that make this decision. Okay? Very important point for everyone to take in, because it's not one person that's going to be making this decision. It's going to be, as you look at this, about 8 councilors who are going to make a recommendation to city council where there's 25 city councilors. Okay, so that's the one thing that everyone should be aware of. This meeting is happening this Thursday. And if you would like to speak at this meeting, it's very simple. All you have to do is send an email to Catherine Reagan at teycc@toronto.ca and referencing the agenda item. And I actually put a template of that request in the email that was sent out inviting folks to this meeting. So you can look at that, and we can also, if anyone has any questions, we can also support you with that. So the various items that are coming forward, but I'm going to go to the one that's relevant to our conversation today. There's a lot of motions that are approving demolitions and rezoning applications. So what's basically happened is Toronto Community Housing, supported by Tridel, is asking to demolish phases 4 and 5 of Regent Park, right? So we're going to go quickly through that motion specifically. And this motion is on the agenda as item 6.21, which is called the 325 Gerrard Street East. So I'm just going to put this in the chat. Okay. And it's going for approval. So the city staff are recommending this for approval. Okay. So we're going to go through the motion together. So this is the item and it's in the chat, just in case you're trying to find it later on. So we're going to click on this. If you click on this, this should work. It should give you a link somehow or an email to send out to basically request to speak. So generate an email basically. And if you see here, here's a recommendation that's been put forward. Okay. And it's a report from the Acting Director of Community Planning, Toronto and East York District. So the City Planning Division recommends that the City Council amend zoning bylaw, this bylaw. And here's the critical pieces. The City Council authorizes the city solicitor to make stylistic and technical changes. So this is just standard language. City Council authorizes the city to enter into an agreement pursuant to Section 37. So this is community benefits of the Planning Act to amend the existing Section 37 agreement for Regent Park. So the community benefits recommended to be secured in amending Section 37 agreement are as follows. The owner shall design and construct a minimum of 3,714 square meters of non-residential gross floor area for community space. The minimum area may be adjusted to account for gross floor areas, exclusions, once the community space is designed.
So
Sorry?
I'm about to sign you up for food handling.
Haja, I hope you can hear me.
I want to make sure. Hold on.
Yeah, we can hear you. Sorry, just mute yourself. So
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No worries, Haja. So we're just quickly talking about Section 37, which is the first part. This is community benefits, and it's related to community space. Okay, so they're saying that this is going to be the community benefits, which is more additional space. By the way, we've not had conversations with our Councillor Moyes, regarding what community benefits we would like for phases 4 and 5. But this is what's been negotiated on our behalf, not with us. So I just want everyone to be aware of that. The next thing is the following matter is also recommended to be secured in amending Section 37 agreement as a legal convenience to support development. The owner shall construct and maintain approximately 14,000 square meters of privately owned public accessible space. So we have requested more space, indoor and outdoor space, but when we also emphasize the importance of it being community governed. And we'll go through the submission by RPNA for more details. There's other sections related to amending the previous requirement that holding designations be removed prior to the issuance of any demolition. There's another amendment to a section that require a minimum of 188 replacement social housing units with direct access to grade. The other important pieces that people need to be aware of, which I'm going to focus on, is this motion calls for the construction and maintaining a minimum of 637 net new affordable rental housing units. It's asking for funding from the federal and provincial government. It's asking to update the progress towards achieving the requirements for phases 4 and 5, specifically when it comes to affordable rental housing. It doesn't mention what the definition of affordable housing is. It provides a minimum of 200 square meters of non-residential gross floor area in phases 4 and 5. It says that there needs to be more public consultation and community engagement. It says that there should be a development and implementation of a Regent Park non-residential space strategy. So this is very important for folks to understand. This is just one strategy. We're going to talk about the strategy that we requested. And it also advises Toronto Community Housing Corp to transfer blocks 4, 5, and 8 of the draft plan, right? So there's a couple of things that relate to the demolition specifically. There's also an endorsement of the relocation of the library, specifically the Parliament Street Library, to the new Regent Park phases 4 and 5. It also requires a Section 37 agreement for Regent Park to be finalized. Now, here's very important. City Council has also been asked to approve the rental housing demolition application, but also allow the demolition of 527 existing social housing units. Okay, so these are RGI units that are going to be demolished, and the owner shall provide 633 replacement social housing units to be maintained on the subject side for at least, it says for at least 40 years, where other agreements call for 99 years or perpetuity, right? So after 40 years, they'll bring it back for another decision, whether to maintain it as social housing or sell it to the market. So this is very important for people to understand. It also breaks down the 633 replacement social housing units into 58 one-bedroom, 223 two-bedrooms, 276 three-bedrooms, 54 bedrooms, and 26 five-bedroom units. It speaks to relocation assistance to all the 527 existing social housing units that are going to be demolished. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this stuff because it's all on the link and you can go through it, at your own time. But I want to go through the submission, which is very important, before we take the Q&A for the remainder of the hour, right? So we'll spend an hour discussing this and taking questions and answers. Does that sound good to everyone? I hope you can see us now. I hope you can all see us somehow. Okay.
There we go. Yeah,
You can see us?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so just before, Dini, just before we take questions, I'm just going to quickly share the submission so folks understand what the issues are, because we now just went through the basically, main motion that's going to be considered on Thursday, June 22nd. Okay. So the meeting is going to be at City Council. It's going to be at a community council, but you can request to speak to any of these issues. So we're going to go through the issues so people know. The address, it's
is it online?
there's also going to be a link online. Yeah, we're going to email it to everyone. You can also connect online as well and depute online. You don't have to go depute in person. You can also do it online. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So what are the main issues? Well, the most important issue, in my opinion, one of the most important issues, in my opinion, actually is protecting our social housing. So the current requirement is that the 633 replacement social housing units will be maintained as social housing residential rental units for a period of at least 40 years. So our expectation is that this social housing units from phases 1 to 3 will remain as social housing in perpetuity, meaning for as long as possible. And the reason is we're in a housing crisis. We're actually right now in a social housing crisis. We can't lose more homes to the market, which will make it almost impossible for folks to live in our community. So that's one of the most important things. Second thing is additional income-based affordable housing. We would like for the 637 net new affordable housing committed as part of phases 4 and 5 rezoning. We want to make sure that the minimum tenure is 99 years and the minimum affordability secured is in line with the city's income-based definition of OPA 558, which defines it as no more than 30% of income. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to actually share the definition of affordable housing so that everyone can see it and understand it. So there's no questions about that. Okay. So I'm sharing this on the chat so that there's no questions or ambiguity about what the city's bylaw is right now when it comes to defining affordable housing. Okay, so please look at the chat and the link. So now I'm going to share it.
Hey,
This is very-
Waleed, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So you had mentioned, sorry, can I ask a question?
Go ahead. Yes.
You had mentioned that the RGI housing in phases 1 to 3, you want to ask for it to be maintained in perpetuity. Was that what you were saying?
Yes.
Because and so you're asking for them to retroactively change that from 20 years to in perpetuity. Is that a request from?
No, what we're trying to do is in the secondary plan, it says up 25 years. We want them to extend it from 25 years. We don't want them to close the door on the 25 years with this rezoning application. We want them to make sure that those units continue to remain to be affordable, RGI.
Okay, but in phases 1 to 3, it's only 25 years.
Yes.
And you're asking them to go back and change that?
Yes. So yeah, that's what we're hoping at City Council or at Community Council, a motion is moved to make sure that that is included.
Okay.
And we're trying to get our City Councilor, Chris March, to do that.
Can you explain more what this?
Yeah, so basically when the time.
Are living in a house now?
Yeah, so for example, if a house, a unit was built, say, theoretically 1975.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was, and these units are meant to be affordable for 25 years. If by the year 2000, City Council didn't make a decision on whether to make those units stay to be affordable, right? They could go back to the market. And you could lose.
Why are you using that as the example instead of the phase 1? Because phase 1 is going to be up in 10 years.
Exactly. Well, we did reference that in the letter, Stephanie. I'm going to go through that. But I just want to quickly make it very clear that the definition of affordable housing is right there on the City of Toronto's website. And what does it say? Look at it. Housing where the total monthly shelter costs is at or below the lesser of 1 times the average City of Toronto rent by dwelling unit type as reported annually by CMCHC, or 30% of before tax monthly income of renter households in the City of Toronto as follows. And they go through our chart here, okay? So this is the definition of affordable housing as per the city's bylaw, current bylaw, okay? I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to go back to the letter that we are all just going through. Okay. Oh, where did I put it? Yes. Okay. So this information actually is going to be sent out by email later on today after this meeting. So if folks want to depute, they can refer to the letter, okay, and the contents. So what we're asking for is that TCHC advocate to other levels of government to find a path forward to attain subsidies to achieve a deeper affordability, including additional rent geared to income. Should the necessary funding not be available in time, we also request that TCHC in the city explore ways in advance to allocate the units to a nonprofit or community land trust to deliver, oversee, and manage those affordable housing units. So we're saying, if you guys don't come up with the money, we don't want to lose it. We want this to be managed and controlled by the community in some version, right? Whether it's a non-for-profit or a community land trust. The other important priority is prioritizing community and public spaces. So while 10,400 square meters of retail and office space and 14,000 square meters of privately owned public space outlined for phases 4 and 5, only 3,714 square meters is committed for community, right? For community space, and a minimum of 200 square meters is committed as affordable or micro retail space for entrepreneurs and small businesses in Regent Park. We feel that the current commitments to community spaces will not meet our existing or future needs. If I showed you folks the space needs to report, you'll be shocked. Like, the amount of space that's required by the community is way greater than what is available. So what we are hoping is that there's actual work done to inform something called the Regent Park Phases 4 and 5 Community Services and Facilities Inventory Study Report. And it's a separate document that's been attached to our submission. But what we're basically asking for is a strategy to be developed with the community on how this space is going to be allocated and utilized, okay? So we're asking the community council to support the community's interest in an association of community centers, AOCC, which can ensure community governance, as well as delivery of important social, community, and recreational programs that many neighborhoods in the downtown area enjoy, okay? When we're talking about the strategy, we phrased it as the comprehensive community services and facilities strategy. And what we did is we referenced the support for the Regent Park non-residential space strategy, which is in the motion. So in the motion, they say they're going to do this. They're going to create a Regent Park non-residential space strategy, but it's for the new retail, community space, and open spaces. What we want is a more comprehensive plan that responds to the current and future community needs outlined in the community priorities report, for example, that will ensure a complete community that includes optimal public and community spaces as part of the last phases of revitalization of Regent Park, okay? And we cited some examples, for example, on childcare. There's childcare needs in this community, we know that. The 2017 Downtown Community Services and Facilities Strategy Report outlines the factors in future growth that's needed to basically support residents, right? So, for example, based on population estimates, a specific policy requirement to secure childcare facilities in development where it can be accommodated through Section 37 is an example, right? So how do we make sure that the community benefits that are introduced for phases 4 and 5 are in response to the proposed density that's been put forward, okay? So that is the summary of the issues that have been put forward by RPNA. So for the next hour, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a discussion with folks, and yeah, please let us know if you have any questions. Sorry, folks, someone just asking for the meeting link. So does everyone understand how to register to depute? Welcome, sir. Let's see. It's a community meeting. We're having a meeting. Yes. Yeah, it's about the rezoning application that's going to City Council. Does anyone have any questions about how to register to depute on Thursday? Does anyone have any questions about the application? The rezoning application?
Can I ask something, Waleed?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my understanding is that the 24 million that was offered as the community benefit was offered just as part of Tridel winning phases 4 and 5. And that the rezoning is what they're telling us kind of came up after they signed that contract. So the 24 million or whatever it is isn't tied to the rezoning. It's just tied to their winning of phases 4 and 5 as it is now. So what are they offering that's additional beyond that 24 million that's actually tied to the additional density and heights that they're asking for now?
Excellent question, Stephanie. From my assessment, it's space. They're saying that we'll give you more space. There's no commitment to additional RGI. I think except for, no, there is a bit of more RGI. They're saying, let's look at this.
What do you mean more RGI? They're not offering any more RGI at all.
Just except for the replacement, like no more than.
That's not more RGI, that's just the replacement. So are they offering anything new that's attached to the rezoning that wasn't attached to phases 4 and 5 as they are now?
Yeah, community space.
No, I thought that was already there. They're just offering a slightly larger amount of community space.
Yes.
And that's it?
From what I took away, did anyone catch anything else?
Nope.
And I also have another question because I saw something from Catherine Bailey indicating that 24 million is actually going towards capital development of that community space. So that's the original 24 million. So that original 24 million appears to be paying for that community space, and conceivably that community space could eat up a huge chunk of that. Is that your understanding too?
Yeah, my understanding is a lot of the community benefit dollars are basically been put into basically funding the community space, both indoor and outdoor, like the plaza, the retail space. So like in the motion, it was very clear to me. Like
I think there's some confusion, Waleed.
Go ahead, Dini. Go ahead.
There's some confusion between the 26.8 million that Tridel is bringing in, and you're talking about the section 37.
Yes, I'm talking about section 37. When I think about the 26.8 million, that is nothing to do with community benefits for phases 4 and 5. Like absolutely nothing. Like
what do you mean? That was the community benefits agreement that got negotiated, right?
Yes, it is. There's 3 buckets.
Yeah, it's basically a part of the best offer for when it came to the tender process to find a new developer, right? So when they put that money, was basically like, this is our attribution in community benefits for phases 4 and 5, right? Now phases 4 and 5 were gonna get built anyway. When we talk about rezoning, there is a proposal to increase density. When you increase density, when you have more people living in a community, you have to address the social costs that come with the proposed density, right? Are the facilities.
Yeah, so I guess that was my question, right? So when Tridel won the phases 4 and 5, they came to the table with 26 million in community benefits, right?
Correct.
And so now they're applying for rezoning to further intensify and add height. What are they offering as community benefits for that new density?
They're proposing community space.
But that 26 million, I saw a note from Catherine Bailey, is going to be going to a variety of things, one of them being capital development of the community space.
Yes, yes, but
So that's not a new benefit. That's already covered. They're already paying for that through the 26.5 million.
yes, yes.
So what are the new community benefits they're offering that's attached to the rezoning?
It's just increasing the community space. That's what I saw in the motion.
But that, okay, but I think we're going in circles because that 26 million, that was offered by Tridel prior to their decision with TCHC to make a rezoning application. So that 26 million is just attached to the intensification of what's there now and the plan that was determined in 2014. That's what the 26 million is for. So what are they offering above and beyond now that they want to rezone again? What are they offering that's attached to the new density?
So
Section 37.
So I'm going to
Pardon?
go.
Section $37.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
And do we know how?
I'm going to go through the motion, which specifically talks about section 37. So it's item 3. Item 3 says, City Council authorizes the city to enter into an agreement pursuant to section 37 of the Planning Act to amend the existing section 37 agreement for Regent Park as follows. The community benefits recommended to be secured in amending section 37 agreements are as follows. So in addition to that 26.8 million, right, which is part of for phases 1 to 3, it says the owner shall.
No, wait. No, that's not for phases 1 to 3. It's for phases 4 to 5.
4 to 5. Sorry, for 4 to 5. I misspoke.
Yeah.
The owner shall design and construct a minimum of 3,714 square meters of non-residential gross floor area for community space. So the cost of that is basically community benefits, okay? And this may be located across multiple buildings, and the minimum area may be adjusted to account for gross floor areas. So we've asked for a centrally community governed space, but they're saying it could be in multiple buildings, which is not what we wanted, right? So that's what we're hoping to change. Second is the ownership and operation of the community space shall be finalized and secured in an agreement, The community space shall be designed and constructed in accordance with the terms and specifications to be secured, okay? The following matters are also recommended to be secured in amending section 37 agreement. The owner shall construct.
So that has nothing to do with the original. And sorry, I'm missing the exact amount. It's 26.8. Is that how much it is?
Yes, 26.8
So
million.
that 26. So what you're talking about there, the section 37, that it has nothing to do with the 26.8 million. That's not just a mechanism by which the 26.8 million will be obtained.
That is not clear to me, Stephanie. You might be right. You might.
So I think that's really important, right? Because I think they're pulling.
No, Stephanie, the section 37 is in addition to the 26.8 mil.
Is it?
Yes.
Where did they give us clarity on that? Because I've been talking to some people who are saying they're not offering anything more for the rezoning, and I just want to get clarity on that because I think if that's the case, that's very problematic.
Yeah, well, that's my understanding because they're doing a community engagement process right now to talk about how that 26.8 million should be spent. And there's an example of 3 different buckets. And people are completing a survey right now about what they'd like to see done with that 26.8 mil. And the section 37 is not part of that 26.8 mil.
Okay, I think as long as we're sure about that, because I thought I saw something from Catherine Bailey that talked about that 26.8 million and how it would be distributed. And it was like jobs, this and that, the capital funds for the community space, long-term employment in that community space. So I'm very confused by what's actually being proposed. And I'm also very concerned about TCH and Tridel, once again, just misleading this community. and lying, straight up lying, as they do.
Okay, so that's an excellent question. From my take of the motion is that for the rezoning, this is a rezoning application, right? Phases 1 to 5 have been approved, right? And what we went through was a negotiation of who's going to develop phases 4 and 5, and they put 26.8.
Yeah. No,
So that's, to me, it's
yeah,
very
no, I
clear.
realize that. I'm asking
Yeah.
about the community benefits that are additionally attached to the rezoning. And I think they might be purposely trying to confuse the community about that.
Yeah. So what we're trying right now is make it very clear that the community benefits that they're referencing is space. It's not a fund. It's basically more space, indoor or outdoor, but it's more space, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's not, they haven't said it's going to be community governed yet. They said they've committed to space, right? They've allowed for more negotiations and discussions to happen because there is an expectation of some sort of funding to also be part of the important pieces of like which units become rent geared to income and which ones are not. Now, what I want everyone to remember is there's no definition of affordable housing mentioned in this motion. My assumption is that they will abide by the city's bylaw, which is OPA 558. That's why in the letter, as one of the issues that we have focused on, is we want to make it very clear that the definition of affordable housing is based on income, not based on market. Okay? But this is what the motion now just basically states. So what can we do? What we can do is we can raise awareness. I think it's important for as many of our neighbors to know about what's going on. An email and a message on WhatsApp, on the various WhatsApp groups is going to be sent out with these issues that we just discussed so that folks are aware of what the issues are and they can talk to their neighbors about it. The second thing is showing up. On Thursday, the community council is going to meet from 9:30 in the morning until 4:30 p.m. You can't depute online. You don't have to depute in person. I'm going to go there in person. I'm actually going to take some time off my responsibilities to be there because it's such an important day. We need to make sure we connect with all the councilors there about the issues that we want addressed. And the more of us depute, the more of us speak up, the better. And that's not the final decision-making body. It's going to go to city council in July. As the last slides that I'm going to share before we end our meeting after our Q&A is how you can contact the Toronto and East York Community Council, but also how can you contact the other councillors, the emails as well, because all 8 city councillors are going to be making that call, and it's going to go to city council for final approval in July. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? So I basically shared
the housing affordable according to the income, not according to the
market.
This main point in the
Yes, because and also to get more funding or more of a commitment to build more rent geared to income unit, right? We can't lose what this community is about. This is one of the largest social housing communities in North America, right?
And it's the best.
The best, of course. So what's coming up next? It's going to community council for consideration on June 22nd at 9:30, and it's going to city council on July 19th.
In person or online?
You can go in person and online. You can do both.
Either one.
Yeah, in person or online. Anyone have any questions? Marlene, Dini, Zahid, Haja?
No.
Fardosa? So how many of us are planning on being at the community council on Thursday?
From what time to what time?
It's 9:30. 9:30 to 4:30.
9:30 to 4:30?
Yeah, but you don't have to be there all that entire period. This item is going to be considered at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m. So from 10 a.m. to like maybe 1 o'clock.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to go there. What is that?
It's at City Hall, which is basically at Nathan Phillips Square. It's on Queen Street. Queen Street.
Bank?
Queen and
Yes. I'm bank.
no, the new City Hall. Yeah, so that's in person in one of the committee rooms. There's a question by Zahid. Does anyone know where Councillor Moy stands on this report? Excellent question, Zahid. We sent Councillor Moyes an email and a letter to request for a meeting back on, I think it was June 16th, if not June 9th. So about 2 weeks ago, or if not a week ago, at the late, like if I'm mistaken, but for sure 2 weeks ago, June 9th. We haven't heard back from Councillor Moyes.
They want to do.
Yeah. So we've
This
been,
coming Thursday.
yeah, it's coming up on this Thursday, the 22nd. So Zahid, we've been trying to communicate with the councillor to get a response on the issues that we've raised, and we haven't heard back yet. So hopefully we'll hear back by tomorrow. We will be following up with the councillor tomorrow as well. I think Pavitra, our RPNA coordinator, is going to be doing that.
And when you follow up, can you get some clarity on the question that was asked by Stephanie, please?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I really didn't think that far ahead that they will be basically allocating that $26.8 million into potential capital cost. My assumption is that's not the case, because why did we start this 1-year process to consult Regent Park residents about how that money is going to be allocated, right? Right? Like that 26.8, it's supposed to be those 3 buckets. What if the community decides they don't want certain money to go to capital projects? Like that's in the hands of the community, right? So I'm assuming that's not the case, but I will seek for clarity. Thank you so much, Dini. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah. Okay, my friends, it's around 8 o'clock. I will send out an email as soon as Pavitra sends out the letter, so that everyone has that information in the inbox. We'll send it over WhatsApp as well. Please have conversations. If you are interested in deputing or speaking at the community council, let me know. I can be there to support you, to help you prepare, to make sure that you're registered to depute or to speak up. It's very important that we speak to these issues, because if we don't get it right now, it's going to have an impact for decades to come, right? And we're hoping to clarify some of the language in the motion, but we also have things to celebrate. We've had them think about implementing a strategy, but we haven't got a commitment on the definition, which is very important, and additional RGI units, which is very important to all of us. Okay.
Waleed, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How long do individuals have to depute?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? And are people allowed to bring in anything like PowerPoint or anything like that?
Yeah.
What you say?
Yes, you can bring an aid. If you email this email, sorry, 1 second.
I emailed today, but I never heard back.
Yeah, I haven't heard back yet.
The Toronto Community Council email.
Yeah, I haven't heard back yet.
Okay.
So if you email, yeah, maybe they'll probably respond by tomorrow. But
Yeah.
if email,
Yeah, I think people have until noon tomorrow to register.
yeah, it's, what's the email again? 1 second. I put it out here. Okay, let me just close this. It's here. It's on the City of Toronto website. So if you, I'm gonna put this in the chat, the contacts. It's TEYCC@toronto.ca. So I'll share it in the chat. Catherine Regan, you can email TEYCC@toronto.ca. I tried calling them. They usually don't monitor their account. So an email is the best. So at least you have a track record of your correspondence in case you're not registered for whatever reason. So I'll recommend you send an email to Catherine Reagan, and an example could be here. You just I'll give you a sample example. You can copy paste it if you want. But what we did is we said, 1 second. So an example could be the following, because it's related to the rezoning in Regent Park. This is a simple email you can send out. Okay. And by the way, it is in the email that I sent out to folks. So you could just copy paste it. Good morning, Catherine. I'm ready to request. I'd like to depute on the following agenda items. That's it. That's all you have to send. And you'll be registered to depute. And you can speak your mind for 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, any other questions? We have a bunch of folks in person that I'll just quickly check in with, but I'm sure a lot of people who got this email are probably going to be interested in registering or writing to the city. You can also write a letter. Remember that we shall send out these issues after this meeting. So you could always quote those issues in your correspondence to the city, because the more they hear from the residents of Regent Park, the better. Okay? Okay, I'm gonna stop this recording.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also follow us on social media, and for more information, check out our website.